All right, my friends, welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew, and today I have spent 3 days with the AMD 7800 XT here in my personal rig where I've been testing it on multiple games. As you can see, I've put up tons of content for this card already, and it's only been 3 days. I think I've had, a pretty decent experience overall with this particular build. I've actually come to realize that the 7800X paired with the 5900X CPU is actually a really solid build and actually performs very, very well at the 1440p range. Yes, I've tested it on 4K. I've tested some stuff at 1080p as well, but I feel like the overall experience has been has been really, really good at 1440p. So there are a lot of good things about this card, and then there's some things that I wish could have been better, but at the same time, this is a 1440p card, and I do kind of feel like that is, while it can push above that for certain experiences, I do believe that this is and will always be mainly a 1440p GPU, at least until, I could see this thing doing pretty well for an extended period of time, to be completely honest with you. So let's get into the good things about this. Let's talk about the good things of the overall experience with the 7800 XT. As you know, I have a 7900 XT that I've been making content on for the past 5 months after switching from Nvidia over to AMD. To this day, I do not regret that decision at all, even though I get a lot of the Nvidia bros in the comment section always banging on about their ray tracing and all of their fun and all of that stuff. I've said this multiple times on this channel. I think Nvidia is the most overhyped GPU class on the market. They come out every couple of years with their top of the line card. It used to be their 80 series or their Titan GPUs. Then it switched over to the 90 series, and now you get like the 3090, the 4090. Those GPUs are usually the top of the line across all different brands. They are usually the top of the line. You really can't get better than that at the time of launch when these cards come out. It really is. They really are the best. They are the best at doing, like the ray tracing, the DLSS, all of that stuff for that class of card. Once you start to deviate from that and you start to go down the stack, you get severely limited when it comes to the Nvidia GPUs. Now, you can listen to all the little people in the comment section telling you that their 4070 or their 4060 or their 4080 are great cards, and for the most part at launch they probably are. They probably do very well, but those cards are designed to not go as far. The 4080, I guarantee, is going to last a lot longer than the 3080 10 gig did. and by that extension, the 3080 12 gig. So yes, I do believe that Nvidia this time made a good choice with their little 4080 with the 16 gigs of VRAM, giving it the power to be able to push farther into the future. Well, and I'm going to talk about the 4080 when I compare it to the 7800 XT, because both of these cards have 16 gigs of RAM. They both are running on 256-bit bus. So I do feel like these two cards in this class, yes, the 4080 is going to be more powerful than the 7800 XT. But at the same time, if you spend $500 for a GPU versus $1,200 for a GPU, and your basic range is going to be 1440p, I do believe that over the course of the generation, I think you're going to get a decent experience out of your 7800 XT. But yeah, you probably are going to be leaving some ray tracing on the table, at least when it comes to Nvidia freaking sponsored ray tracing games. Yes, you are taking a major hit in performance every time you try to load up one of these games. And the Nvidia bros will tell you, but those are the only games people are playing. No, dude, like Cyberpunk is is essentially it's become one of them everybody with a GPU test video or test games. And that's sad because Cyberpunk is a pretty decent game. Like, it is pretty good. I wouldn't say it's like earth shattering or anything, but it is one of those games that everybody goes to test GPUs now. and that's bad. I think Alan Wake 2 is going to be the same way. Alan Wake 2 is absolutely my game of the year. 100% incredible experience, and I played through that the whole way on a 7900 XT. Didn't skip a beat, had an amazing experience. The game looks absolutely beautiful, even without the ray tracing. And when you turn on the ray tracing, comparing it to like what it looks like normally, you're really not missing out on a whole bunch, so it is okay. Now, I want to talk about AMD, okay? If you're buying an AMD card, like, you're not buying an AMD card for ray tracing. You're not buying an AMD card for DLSS. You're not buying this GPU for that. You are buying an AMD GPU simply because you just want to play games and you don't want to chase the overhype. Because, like, frankly, like I said earlier, if you can't afford a 4090 or a 3090 or one of them higher tiered cards, then you're going to be stuck with a terrible experience. Well, not terrible. I mean, obviously be able to play around with it, but a terrible experience compared to the closest priced GPU in the AMD stack. You are going to get significantly more power and a lot more freaking headroom to play games for a lot longer. You're going to have more longevity. And it is a little bit, after 5 months with AMD, I can honestly tell you that like, in my experience, I don't care too much about the ray tracing just because of the fact, and I do like ray tracing. It does look good. It does enhance the image quality of your video games. But I don't feel like this technology is 100% affordable throughout the whole range. I don't. I feel like it is you got to have the money, you got to pay to play, pay to win, whatever. You have to have the amount of money necessary to purchase that, and then you're still going to get varying degrees of results for that. When GPUs can actually hit 4K at 60 frames per second without needing upscaling for ray tracing and path tracing and all of that, then it will be a different story. But right now, it is a experimental feature that frankly isn't widely available enough at a reasonable price for everybody to be able to enjoy that. If you are chasing ray tracing, you are throwing money away. You are absolutely throwing money away. I learned the hard way, and I know that the Nvidia bros are going to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, but I gave Nvidia not one, not two, but 3 chances to impress me, to blow me away, and to deliver a product that would keep me satisfied. And they failed to do that miserably. Like, literally miserably. They failed to do that. I was so irritated after that 3080 that I was like, no, man, like, I'm not going to buy any more Nvidia products for a while. Like, I'm not going to do that. I actually, and I did. I broke down the other day, on Black Friday, I went over to Best Buy and I was going to grab that 4070 Ti, and I was going to come home and I was going to start making content, for that, versus the 7900 XT. But when I got there and I'm looking at that price and I'm like, dang, dude, I'm going to pay almost $950 for this card because it's the only one they have in stock and it's an AIB. I was like, no, man, like, I'm just going to buy a 7800 XT. I mean, on the channel, I've definitely gotten a significant, I've definitely gotten significantly more attention and more viewers and more people coming to the channel over the AMD content. So I decided to get a 7800 XT and show people what a mid-range GPU in the AMD stack can do. And I have been absolutely blown away with this experience. So, as I said before I went on my little tangent, I wanted to talk about the good things for the AMD 7800 XT, and then we'll get to the stuff that I am a little bit, I wish that was better. Nothing bad. There's nothing bad. I haven't had any like driver issues. It's not crashing on me. I'm not getting black screens all the time. I'm not getting the driver timeouts. I'm not getting any of the issues that people are running around saying. And for me, to not have those problems or to not receive any of those problems or to not experience those problems doesn't mean that they're not experiencing these problems, but I do kind of feel like it has something to do with their overall build. Maybe they're pairing it wrong, maybe they're not utilizing it, and maybe they're not utilizing it in the right way. Maybe they've got some settings turned on. Maybe they have some other hardware issues that are preventing that card from fully being utilized. I don't know. I've tried both the standard drivers on this card. I've tried, and I'm actually using the preview drivers for this card right now for the AMD's fluid motion frames. I actually like that feature a lot, and it does perform extremely well on the 7800 XT as well. So, the good things about this card, it is an absolute 1440p beast when it comes to playing these games. All of the games that I've been playing, as I've said in earlier videos, I'm actually either meeting what I was getting with the 7900 XT in terms of frame rate, or in some cases kind of exceeding that a little bit due to the fact that like I'm not being bottlenecked at 1440p at all. So I'm not I'm not at a I feel like it's kind of a perfect equilibrium for the 7800 XT with the 5900X. I feel like this is a very, very decent pairing for this card right now, just because of the overall experience at 1440p and it being able to 100% deliver on that experience. There are a few outliers, a few games that easily run better on the 7900 XT at 1440p, just because it's got more of that headroom. And it just performs better. Like Alan Wake 2 at 1440p, I was getting like 80 frames a second at native 1440p. On this one, I'm bouncing around between 40 to 60 on that, depending on the area that I'm in. I got a video out right now with that. But overall, the other, like all the other games that I've been playing has been 100%. Like games like Assassin's Creed and some of them other ones definitely hit much higher frame rates at 1440p with the 7900 XT. So there are those outliers that actually the 7900 XT blows it away, but at the same time, for this card to perform so well at 1440p and 100% deliver that experience at native resolution with the highest graphic settings that you can put on these cards without having to utilize FSR2, that is very good. There are a few games that you do actually have to utilize FSR2, but that usually just puts your frame rate like significantly higher, and it's good. Like it's an overall good experience for that. For that. Now, 4K is an interesting one with this card. Yes, it will 100% do 4K on some of your older games, even some of these newer games that come out. It runs Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 at 4K at well over 100 frames a second, and some of them other games. Like I think what did I do? I put it on. I did the 1080p on the 7900 XT. Maybe I'll do a 1080p video for this game as well, with all like the low settings and stuff to show you what your max frame rate can be. But I don't know. I haven't really decided to do any of that kind of stuff. But I have come to the conclusion that this card here is probably going to stay in this build, and I'm going to build up a whole nother rig with the 7900 XT that's going to be stronger and probably on the AM5 platform, just because I feel like this is a pretty good pairing for this card. So I will be utilizing the 7800 XT pretty exclusively for a while, until I can actually come up with the money to put that together and to get that all built out without having to put myself in like financial issues or jeopardy or any kind of stuff like that. But when I look at the things that are good about the 7800 XT, when I look at the overall performance of this card and how it is delivering that experience, how I'm still able to utilize ray tracing on games like Resident Evil 4, any of them games that are actually built with ray tracing in mind for AMD, they run incredibly. They run no problem. RoboCop runs incredibly, like all of the UE5 games except for Arc. Arc obviously needs some updates and some other stuff to make it run better, but dropping it to low settings at 1440p was giving me oh gosh, what was it, like 80, 90 frames a second. So I mean, obviously there are settings in there that you can adjust to make it run significantly better on this card and, you know, the 7900 XT. But overall, the experience out of Arc is yeah, probably one of the more probably one of the least optimized experiences that I've played so far, period, on PC. But when you come to games like Spider-Man Remastered, jumping in on this card, this is the only card that's ever felt this smooth with this game. On the 7900 XT, I was getting bottlenecked. On the 3080, I was getting bottlenecked at 1440p. When I would put the 3080 on 4K, it wasn't giving me a good experience either. When I put the 7900 XT on 4K, it runs really, really well at 4K, almost as good as this, but at 1440p, like, the bottlenecks were making it so it was a little bit more unstable. The 7800 XT runs that game at a 70 and above, at full ray tracing, full everything, maxed out all the way to 10. With the highest settings, with the maxed out field of view at 25, runs that game absolutely solid, and it feels incredible. And that is without upscaling. If I turn on upscaling, it's even better. Like, I get way better frame rate, and I'm just like, wow. I was blown away with the overall frame rate that I got from Spider-Man. Just was like, wow, this is great. I don't even need upscaling on this one. This is incredible. When it comes to 1440p, I don't necessarily need a whole lot of FSR or any other upscaling for this game. Playing games like The Witcher 3, you know, some of that with the ray tracing on. I've only found that I need FSR if I want to utilize ray tracing to get a playable frame rate. Well, to get above 60. When I say playable frame rate, I mean above 60 frames. We all know that absolutely 30 FPS is still playable. Like, you can do that, but it's not necessary. But anything above that is 100%, you know, like what I would consider a playable game at over 60 frames a second. And this card 100% meets that. It delivers that in spades very easily. When it comes to utilizing the AMD's Fluid Motion Frames preview beta for this game, or for this card, it absolutely runs great. I was able to utilize it with Cyberpunk. I was able to utilize it with a significant amount of games. Actually, I've been testing that on pretty much every game that I've been testing, and some games I'm making videos, some games I'm not. But the overall stability of everything on the card has been very, very well as well. Like, I haven't had, you know, like the drivers crash in or any of that kind of stuff. No black screens. It boots up every single time. When I put it to sleep and I wake it right back up, it comes right back on. I'm not having like any issues with handshake issues with my 4K OLED. It's running really good. I've had all three screens hooked to it the whole time. I haven't had any issues with that. I know the people were complaining about that and talking about that. I have yet to have that problem, so I don't know what they're going on about. And like I said, they're probably it's probably like another hardware issue in their rig or something that's not lining up or meeting, you know, the needs of their overall system. So I get that, and when you're out here in the DIY PC space, yes, you're gonna run into stuff, you're gonna run into problems, and yeah, some of it, like the memory issue when I first built this PC, man, like that kind of stuff can drive you nuts. But overall, the experience that I get from AMD is second to none. I absolutely love the way AMD feels. I love the software for it, and I love being able to utilize things. So now I want to talk about the things that I wish this card would do a little bit better. And if you've been at the channel for a while, or at least, you know, in terms of the AMD stuff, I bang on about virtual super resolution. I do. I utilize that a lot, especially with my 7900 XT. I'm always using that on certain games that I want to look really, really good and be able to play them at least 60 frames a second or above. Well, so this card here, 100% can do that, but I'm finding that my upper bounds of being able to upscale to is about 4K, and then coming down from there. When I try to do 6K, it is a lot harder on a lot of these newer games to be able to hit that. But it is manageable. I was able to do it with Alan Wake 2, I was able to get it up to 6K and then be able to, downsample and do all of that and utilize virtual super resolution. And the reason I like doing that is because, yes, sometimes Fidelity FX or Fidelity Super Resolution does not deliver the best overall image quality at when you're using that. But if you go higher in your resolution, like if you output to, like, say 6K and you're on a 1440p monitor, and remember, you're trying to get to 60 frames per second. If you output to 6K and you use ultra performance, that is going to increase your image quality. When you're downsampling to 1440p, it's going to bring that image quality up significantly, and then you're not going to see the fuzziness with FSR. You're not going to see any of the impurities that FSR Ultra quality is going to bring, because you're essentially, the higher up in resolution you go, the higher up the base FSR upscaler ultra performance goes. If you're at 6K, then the base is 1080p. So 1080p upscaling to 6K and then getting shrunk back down to 1440p is absolutely phenomenal. It looks incredible. It is very beautiful. It looks very pristine. It looks very sharp. So that's something that I really like to use with AMD cards. I like to be able to max out the resolution and then utilize the utilize the FSR to get some of that, to get that frame rate back, and then super sample it, down sample it to my 1440p monitor, because I think it absolutely looks incredible. It gets rid of all the jittery lines. It gets rid of all the it gets rid of all the impurities that make your games look a little fuzzy and all of that stuff, and it makes them look better. It puts so much more pixels into that area, and then shrinks them down into your 1440p monitor, that it just looks so dense and it looks beautiful. It looks incredible. I don't know why people are so negative about it. I don't understand why people are so negative about AMD in the first place. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. And yes, I'm new to PC. I've only been in the space for a couple of years now, but I've learned a lot, and I'm starting to come into my own and starting to find things that I really like and that I appreciate. I'm not listening to other people telling me what I have to like. Because, no, dude, I'm my own person, man. I gave Nvidia more than enough opportunities to 100% satisfy me, and they failed to do that. They failed to do that. And I'm like, wow, dude, that really sucks. I spent a lot of money on Nvidia buying the best, and I got absolute garbage. I'm not going to say absolute garbage. I'm going to say I got not what I figured I was going to get. I thought for sure that 3080 10 gig was going to last me at 1440p for a while. Like, what other... I hear so many people say good things about Nvidia, so why would I question that? You know what I mean? Why would I question that? People tell me to get a 3090 and stuff, and I'm like, dude, I don't need to spend that much money. I'm only going to utilize this at 1440p. And that was my mindset when they're telling me, no, man, you got to get the 3090. You got, and now, I mean, it all makes sense, because every one of them have been burned so many times by Nvidia that they got to a point where it's like, okay, yeah, just buy the best. We got to have the best. We got to buy the best. And that's pretty much what Nvidia does. And I caught on, man. I mean, Jensen even said it himself. The more you spend, the more you save. And that's true. Obviously, that's true with Nvidia. If you buy any of their other cards underneath their top end card, you're gonna end up spending money again, because that card's not gonna last you. It's not gonna do what you wanted it to do. So you're gonna find your way to the top rather quickly, anyways. And I'm a little bit more calm-headed, and I was like, no, I'm drawing a line in the sand. I'm gonna try the competitor first. I spend a lot of money on this channel, and it's not. I need you to understand, it's not about the money. It is about the principle with me. I would much rather buy the competitor's card to see the quality for myself, instead of having people, yell at me in all caps in the comments section telling me that Nvidia is better. I bought Nvidia because everybody said it was better. And I had anxiety when I switched over to AMD because of, all the negativity that's out there for AMD. I did. I had a lot of anxiety, but none of that was founded. None of that was founded. I've had a great experience on AMD. The ray tracing experience could be better, but at the same time, I don't think ray tracing is 100% there, you know, like tessellation or screen space reflections or any of those other tried and true freaking methods to make your video games look better have all had to go through this rite of passage to become a mainstream feature. And I don't think that ray tracing has 100% hit that spot yet. So like I said earlier in the video, you are just throwing money away by chasing that. Unless you're going to buy the top end card every generation, you are not going to really, you're just spinning your wheels. And that's why I always say, you know, it's like a hamster wheel being on Nvidia. It's a hamster wheel. You're going to buy what you can afford at the time, and you're going to suffer through that experience until the next generation comes out, and then you're going to buy that. You know, it's weird. You buy a 3060, you get your experience. You buy a 4060, you get a better experience than you got with your 3060, but you're never ever going to get, and it just feels like a hamster rate. It feels like a hamster wheel for me on Nvidia. So I'm off of that hamster wheel. I'm on AMD, and I feel like I'm a little bit more down to earth. I feel like things are a bit more down to earth, but like I was saying, I do wish that I do wish that I could have, you know, a little bit more leeway when it comes to the virtual super resolution with this card. That's the only problem I have with it after 3 days. That's the only thing that I'm like, gosh, I wish this would do a little bit better so that I could play this, or so that I could check that out, or so I could do something like that. But overall, like, the 1440p experience is absolutely incredible, and it's a super quiet card. Like, you can't even hear it. It's very, very quiet. Even at full freaking, even when I'm running a game at like full ultra settings, it's still super quiet. This XFX build is absolutely incredible, man. This card feels great. It's very quiet. The build quality seems extremely nice. I have two of them now. I got the 7900 XT, 7800 XT, and they both perform very well. They're both whisper quiet, and they both run great. They do what they're supposed to do. The one thing that you can take away from this whole AMD experience that I've been on is that, look, man, you can get a very, very, very good quality gaming experience without all the extra hoo-ha or whatever, you know, on top of that. Like, you will 100% be satisfied with an AMD GPU. And I do really believe, I do believe this, that I think at the price for the 7800 XT and the slot that it fits into, you know, in that 1440p market, I think that this card here is probably the best value for your money this generation, that is going to probably give you the greatest longevity out of some of these cards. Now, the 7900 XT, there's a lot of people out there that would probably believe that that card is absolutely useless or pointless without the 7800 XT. I kind of feel like the 7900 XT absolutely has a place and deserves to be there, but I don't necessarily know if AMD's pricing, the way they were pricing these cards was good. I mean, I got mine at like 780 or something. I got mine for like 780, so I didn't pay like the full MSRP. And for me, that felt like a fair price. And yes, at 4K, the gap between the 7800 and the 7900 XT is pretty wide. Like, it is a pretty decent margin of performance that I'm getting at 4K versus the 7800 XT. The 7800 XT is one heck of a 1440p card, and if you leave it in that segment, yes, it is an awesome card, and it 100% performs at that range. So I'm happy. This is day 3. Like I said, I'm going to keep that card in there for a little while. I'm going to keep making content for it. I'm going to keep bringing you guys videos of all these games when they come out. When Avatar comes out, I will play it on this first, and then I'll jump over to the 7900 XT. I'll do a benchmark and all of that for that, and then we'll go from there. What the next steps are going to be, like how I'm going to proceed with with this AMD coverage. So, all right, my friends, if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching this 3-day review of the AMD 7800 XT.